Welcome to New Broker, the podcast dedicated to providing insights and inspiration for building a new broking business.
Hello and welcome back to New Broker. I'm your host for today, Annie Kane. And this week we're talking to a MoneyQuest broker in the form of Matt Glennon from MoneyQuest Clayfield and chatting about how he's found his first 18 months of broking. Now, being a new broker in any industry, from any industry, can always feel a little bit daunting. There's so much to learn, there's so much to do. But when you come from the banking side of things, sometimes it can be either a head start or in some cases a bit of a challenge learning what it takes to be a broker. So in this episode of New Broker, we're talking to Matt about which one he is and how he's found it. Thanks for joining me, Matt. How are you going?
Thank you, Annie. Great to be here.
It's great to have you on the New Broker podcast and chat all things MoneyQuest, Clayfield, and what you're doing as you build your broking business.
Yep.
So in the broking industry for about 12 to 18 months, and previously you were in banking. Walk me through what made you see the light and become a broker.
Well, it was a long journey to get to that point. I spent 17 years in banking, and prior to that, I was had a career change. So I was in graphic design. Oh, wow. So totally left field, totally different, creative, nothing to do with money. Wasn't making any, but that was beside the point. But I wanted to get into finance somehow. I didn't want to go and study.
Yep.
And a job in the bank come up, and I thought I need to understand how the banks work, how they lend money, what they do, mainly because I wanted more of it.
Yeah.
To invest and do what I was doing at the time. And a job in the bank came up. I had a wife with a little one on the way, and I thought I need a steady career, job, income, and this was it for me. And 17 years later, you just one thing leads to another.
Yep.
Obviously, the opportunity come out of banking to step into broker, but I took that seriously about whether I have another career change. But I just love the whole lending process. It's a massive commitment for people. You're on the journey with them. You're taking the highs and the lows with them, hence why I'm so grey. But, it's just a privilege to be on that journey with them, and I just love it. It's addictive.
Yep.
And it's just a great reward, not only financially, but also mentally. It's just a great feeling to be able to be a part of that journey for them. So it was a logical process to start my own broking business.
So when you were in banking, were you already working as a mobile lender or like doing any lending experience?
I was definitely lending, yeah. So retail lending, commercial lending, equipment finance, we did it all. So that was great for the experience. So I understood lending. So that was key.
Yep.
Obviously banking, there's clientele already. So that's kind of handy to actually work with clients straight away without having to bring business in the door, although that was part of my role as in my business in banking. But so I had to bring business in the door and do the lending. We had to obviously manage staff. We had 2 branches, so it was a fair bit going on.
Yeah, not
only just writing loans.
So how come you decided to then kind of go out on your own and become a broker rather than stay at the bank?
Well, I was with BAQ. They decided to transition and remove all owner managers.
Yeah.
So that was a pretty big deal for us at the time. So it wasn't our decision to move on. I was enjoying what I was doing. We had a transition to take over the business and buy out one of my business partners.
Yep.
So that was a pretty big fork in the road. So hence why I thought, I wanted to really see if this is still right for me at the time of my life. But as I said, I just kept coming back to doing what I love.
Yeah.
And that was lending. So
yeah. And you're not alone. Obviously, lots of BAQ franchisees that have become brokers.
Correct,
we'll be talking to a few on the New Broker podcast because there are a few of you. But I always think it's really interesting talking to former bankers because a lot of the time people come from lending or from banking and they kind of think they know what the mortgage process looks like. And then they start broking and go, actually, it's quite different. Yeah. Did you find that was an adjustment when you came into broking?
Look, I knew a few brokers. So we talked. So we get it. And we was always curious to find out how they did the deal.
Yep.
Whereas we couldn't for whatever reason. So I knew there was so many different options and solutions. I got it. That was obviously our challenge, being a bank. Being one policy could only have one criteria.
Yeah.
But moving into the broking space, my head was spinning for 6 months. I just could not comprehend. Like, it's hard enough being over one policy, let alone 50.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost impossible to be across every aspect of that bank and the quirks, the different, criteria that they have and SLAs and all the rest of it. So, having one thing I learnt was the biggest aspect for me getting started was relying on relationships. So the BDMs were critical. So I'd hound them on the phone, email, just give me everything, your knowledge. I wanted it. And as I relied on them and that relationship to get me up to speed quickly.
Yep.
And so that was kind of critical. Obviously, all the apps now like Quickly helped me get up to speed quickly.
Yeah.
Obviously, no pun intended. But yeah, it was those things that helped me transition.
Yeah, and I think that's always, great shout out to the BDMs there, because they obviously have so many brokers to talk to, and their phones are constantly ringing, and they're always trying to keep people up to date with what the policies are doing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of learnings to be had. So.
It was embarrassing when you asked them the same question again. I'm like, I know someone does this policy, I just can't remember who.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got to be an encyclopedia of lending knowledge, and then you start looking at policy stacking, and there's also many things you can do. And when you then started your broking career, one of the first big decisions you have to make is what kind of business are you going to have? What kind of brokerage? Like, are you going to go down a branded group? Are you going to do it under your own name? Are you going to, kind of have a wholesale aggregation model? Are you going to have a franchise model?
Yep.
How did you arrive at going down the MoneyQuest route?
Yeah, I thought of both. And there's pros and cons to both. I kind of took it as that franchise model took care of a lot of the back end support, website, marketing, all the rest of it. I just wanted to write deals. I wanted to hit the ground running straight away because I knew what I was good at and I could outsource the rest. That was my mentality and business model. So I just need to spend 80% of my time doing what I'm good at and what I love. The rest of the time I need to outsource to someone else that's better than me. So that was one aspect, and that forced me to go down the franchise model because they've got that support care factor. They got the team. I didn't want to go, I need to set up a website, SEO, all the rest of it goes with it. I just don't have time for that.
Yeah.
I didn't have the mental capacity. I didn't have the mental capacity to start branding myself as a new brand. Maybe if I was 10 years younger and starting again, maybe on socials and building that up, because there's some brokers that are absolutely killing it out there on doing their own brand, and I envy that, but it just wasn't for me at the time.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't want to set up your own website having a graphic design background. You wouldn't wanting to be...
Don't care about that anymore. Like, I don't care. It looks good, like, it works. That's all that matters.
So did you meet with different aggregation groups and different franchise models?
I did.
How did you arrive at MoneyQuest?
I did. I spoke to quite a few. And I think the biggest thing, I've said this before, and Stu just kept following me up. Stu was instrumental, and the outer execs and the team, I put it down to one word: they actually cared, and it felt like a family. Like they actually wanted you to be there, because in the franchising, I've said this before, for us to succeed as a group, we need to succeed. So if you don't make me successful, you guys don't succeed. And it felt like that's what they wanted for me. They actually wanted me to transition and hit the ground running. And that's probably why I've succeeded. Like it felt like that, and that's what's become, my business.
Well, talk of success, because in your first year, you settled more than $80 million in loans, which I'm sure many new brokers would be so envious of, because it takes a lot of people to get to that stage. Typically, we'd say, you normally see brokers in their first year maybe going up to 50. So I think when you actually hit the ground running and you can see success very quickly, it's really impressive. How did you manage to get to that so quickly?
Yeah, it wasn't an overnight success. My wife asked me the same thing, how it happened. I'm like, it took 17 years. That's what happened. It was 17 years of learning the ropes, building relationships, door knocking on accountants, solicitors, buyers agents, real estate agents, understanding the process. That takes time. Building those connections and trust takes time. Obviously you do it online these days, and that's even better. You can build up trust quicker and better reach. But yeah, look, it like I said, it took a lot of time to get to that point to then just turn it over and run with it.
Yeah.
'Cause lead flow is everything. If you don't have the connections and the bits, you got no business.
Yeah.
So I just got on the phone and told everyone that this is me. I'm still wanting to help you on your journey to whatever it is, property-wise, investment-wise, whatever. You got to talk to people or put yourself out there.
Yeah. And I guess if a lot of people already knew that you were in lending, it wasn't so much of a reach for them to be like, oh, now he's a broker.
It wasn't a big deal. They found me.
Yeah.
So because I spent that time building that trust.
So how many loans do you reckon you write in a month, for example?
I'd say, 10 to 12.
Yeah. So pretty busy. I mean, like, I think starting out and doing let's say over 100 loans in a year in your first year is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And that's obviously probably why you need some support on the back end as well.
Definitely. I think you got to break it up though. Like, that seems like a big number, but if you break it up per week to say, I just want to get 3 proposals out in a full week, that's achievable.
Yeah.
Once you get going, you know what I mean? So if you break it up into bite-sized pieces, it's maintainable.
Did you do that when you first started? Did you just set out like your first sort of 12-month business plan, being like, this is how many leads I need to convert and this is how many leads I need to write? No.
Yeah. No, look, yeah, definitely. I probably, my first year was important because I just wanted to know where, I just wanted to get my feet wet and get going.
Yeah.
But after a few months, I'm like, yeah, I got this. Let's go. And I was just running rampant, just let's talk to you, let's go. And there was leads coming through where, I was frantically trying to figure it out. But because I had my support staff, I'm like, yeah, you can run with that now. I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
But you kind of need that help. Otherwise, you can't do it all.
Yeah. Yeah. We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you about how you actually structured your team then, how you're doing what you're doing, how you generate leads, so those referral partnerships, and also what sort of things you're using to make your life easier as a broker, including tools and technology. And we'll get into that just after this. So looking at then starting up your own franchise and becoming a broker, as you said, you kind of really had a lot of the lending knowledge. You knew how to kind of get the deal done, but it was just learning the policy and maybe some of the nuances. Did you start on your own immediately? Did you have a back office? Did you come with a team? Like what does MoneyQuest Clayfield look like? Yeah,
it was daunting initially because it was just me. I was like, normally I'd delegate this to the other team members. So I knew I had to understand the end-to-end process. So if I didn't know what it involved, then I can't teach and train or outsource it and then know what to expect. So I did my first deal and it was so painful. I didn't like it at all, just because that's not me.
What was it?
Oh, just the box ticking, AOL, everything that it didn't go through the next step. I'm like, this is killing me.
Red crosses.
But that's not my skill set, and I don't want it to be. So I'd rather have someone better than me do that.
Yeah.
So I did speak to multiple different brokers, and they just said outsource immediately for that, whether it's offshore, onshore, just get someone to support. And so I had a full time. I went offshore.
Yep.
Mainly because that was obviously cost effective initially to get started. And it was just quick and easy transition. I had people recommended and I just trusted that process, which is part of the franchise. That was the support and the back end I was talking about. So that was really helpful to say, use these guys, run with that, done. That was tick, that box is taken care of. And I could really spend most of my time understanding process, deal structure, lenders I should choose, bid, everything else that goes with the front end.
Yeah. So when you were looking at that, I mean, and this is something we hear a lot, is brokers saying, I wish I'd hired earlier. I wish I'd, taken the leap, because it does free up a lot of your time. So was it literally you wrote one loan and then were like, I'm never going to do this again, and then hired?
Yes, literally.
Wow.
I know you can pay per deal, but I was like, no, I want someone personally to me and my business that we can build a relationship with and feel like they're actually part of my business. And we actually, have a great connection. So I can just delegate where necessary, what I think is appropriate for them to do, and I can spend more time on what I should be doing. The dollar cost per, activities. Yeah.
So do you then have to do all the training, or does MoneyQuest do that for you?
No, they train. This is a third party outsourced partner. Yeah. So they're trained up, ready to go.
Yeah.
So I'm like, that's great, because I hate training as well.
Yeah.
They can do all that. And we have gone through I did start off with someone because I wanted someone specific that understood self-employed structures and whatnot. So I had to go through another, they actually left and we got replaced with another person, and just rolls on.
Trial and error.
Exactly.
So talking about your support staff, you mentioned that you went with an outsourced provider. Yes. How many people do you have supporting you?
Just one full-timer.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. And is that is the whole
That's
team?
the team.
Yeah.
That's the team. So easy to manage.
Yeah. And so do they help with everything, like resi, commercial, asset? Because you kind of sound like you've got a diversified business.
Yes. I knew, obviously I had to get to that point. Obviously clients come in and they don't care where you're up to in your business. They just want the deal done. So I'm like, I need to figure out how I can solve people's problems now for every scenario, but do what I can do. So resi, investment lending, some commercial lending for different lenders. The asset lending I outsourced, referred on, and then depending on the commercial deal, and I had some other connections that I could refer on as well if necessary. So
when you say commercial, do you mean commercial property?
More business lending. Commercial property I can do, and with quite a few different lenders. But yeah, just need to make sure you covered your bases. But you want to be making sure you know what you're talking about. You don't want to become get your teeth stuck into something that is out of your depth and you're not ready for. You don't have proper accreditations for yet.
Yeah.
Or enough solutions.
Yeah. And I think this is something that we talk about a lot, is diversification, particularly now with mortgage demand softening a little bit. You know, a lot of brokers thinking, well, how do I diversify and where do I diversify? And for us, we kind of say, you know, we want you to be providing a full service offering for clients, but you don't have to be writing it all yourself. You can partner with someone who can specialize in that.
Well,
area.
I think the key, like you look at other industries, doctor, they're not going to be jack of all trades.
Yeah.
You've got to specialize, and you got to niche down into something that you know inside and out, and you're the expert. People will come to you if you're the expert.
Yeah.
Doesn't mean you can't do other aspects of lending. It just means you either can take on that challenge or you outsource it, because there's only so much you can do and there's only so much you can know and provide value. So I think, and this is something I've learnt probably in the broker community, is that there's lots that are successful that hone in on their niche. And it seems counterintuitive to go, oh, I'm not going to look at others, because you want business in the door. But if you can hone in on a specific niche and be the absolute expert and add value, you'll be surprised you'll be inundated with business.
Yeah.
So
what is your niche?
Well, my niche now is self-employed, but if we want to niche in further, it's the self-employed that have currently ATO tax debt.
Oh,
that's a big one in the talking point. And I suppose the reason for that is it's a bit more urgent for people. They actually want a solution now. They don't want, so I was targeting self-managed super fund. Obviously, there's been a lot of changes going on there, but which is great. There's a lot of talk about it, but a lot of them pre-budget were wanting more information, so it was a longer lead. Whereas, if you're looking for lead flow, you want it on now. You need leads now in the door because you need bills to pay.
Yeah.
So you want these clients to help now. So you need to find a niche that you can add massive value instantly, but then there's extra value you can add to them later as well.
Yeah. And so I guess, again, this is why sometimes diversification helps, because if you're writing asset finance or you have partnered someone in asset finance, those deals will settle a lot faster.
Fall off the back of it as well. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And so when you actually come to talking to clients about ATO debt, I mean, this is obviously a massive topic at the moment. So many people in the last couple of years have really found it hard to try and repay this, in some cases, huge amount of debt. And the ATOs get increasingly aggressive in chasing that debt as well. How are you having those conversations? What kind of solutions are you providing? Which lenders are you finding are kind of helping out there? Like, how do you actually help someone with ATO debt get out of it?
Yeah, it's a challenge depending on the situation. Obviously, you got to understand where they're at, whether they've set up a payment plan yet, have they discussed it with their accountant, their advisors, because that's critical. They need to have that advice and conversation with the accountant first.
Yep.
I'm really a solution for them, depending on the cash flow of the business. If they've got equity, whether they need an unsecured payment plan, they might be better off on the payment plan initially. And it's up for me to guide them from a cash flow point of view, what they're trying to achieve, why they want to think they need this solution, because it might be okay for them initially. And then this might be a stepping stone for the next step, maybe down the track in 3 to 6 months' time. But the solutions might be generally non-lenders that...
non-bank lenders?
Yeah, that can offer that kind of, they're happy to take on that tax debt. If they've got a payment plan in place, great, they've got history. So yeah, it depends, but it's great because there's so many different avenues and better conversations you can have from.
Yeah. And you've talked a little bit already about, the referral partners that you have, to help clients with this, so whether it's accountants or financial planners.
Yep.
And, obviously when you're in your banking days, having those partnerships already, but maintaining referral partnerships can be quite difficult if you're a new broker, starting them, establishing them and maintaining them. How do you ensure that your referral partners and your kind of financial services associates that you're working with are actually still remembering you, that you're working well together?
Take them out for drinks.
Do you? Just get them pissed?
Well, look,
yeah.
you got to socialise, because funnily enough, you deal with people you like, you know what I mean? And in a social setting, you talk business, but you don't have to. You want to get to know that person. And I think that's critical for building relationships. You want to get to know that person, who they are, their background, so you can go, you know, I like that person.
Yep.
I'm going to do business with you. And it might be over coffee, it might be over beer, whatever it is, but you got to socialize to connect.
So you think it's more about a cultural fit?
Big time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not only
They've got to be
individually,
good as well, obviously.
yeah, individual culture fit, but also probably also client fit too. So yeah, there's a buyer's agent that we target, similar sort of investors as well. So it's having that mutual connection and passion for it as well, that you see young people invest and you know want to do a few things. So you've got a commonality.
Yeah,
I think that's critical for a good referral partner.
A lot of new brokers also, I think, struggle with convincing, if I can use that word, referral partners to refer to them, because they're obviously saying, you know, a lot of the time they might have already a broker established that they're working with. They don't want to, you know, they're always bombarded with requests to refer out to them.
Yep.
How do you kind of get around that conversation? Like, how do you prove your value?
Yes, tricky one. The best thing you can do, if you can get a foot in the door and do their own business, I need to prove it to you. I can't tell you, because words mean diddly squat unless I can prove my worth to you. Give me a tricky lead. Give me something to run with that I can prove my worth. And then, you know, the first one is the most critical for a referral partner. You got to deliver over deliver, because it means more business potentially. Because I think as well as you just got to be consistently at them, because some point in time, their referral partner that they have been referring to will take a holiday, and something comes up that's urgent. Murphy's Law, Murphy's Law that, this is urgent. Guess what? That guy keeps coming back to me. I'm just going to flick him something to shut him up.
Yeah.
And because it's consistently. And they'll see that fight in you, that this guy actually wants business and he's doing everything to get it.
And then when it comes to, because you went with MoneyQuest Clayfield as a franchise offering, you kind of already were leaning on them for things like the marketing and the website stuff.
Absolutely.
That you referred to it.
Yeah. So effectively I've got more of a team, if you want to count them, because I'm hassling them all the time, like Scotty and Nat, hounding them for marketing, my Meta, paid ads, socials, all the rest of it. So, and I rely on them because they provide the ideas as well. I could just give them some, no, don't like that. Yes, like this.
Yeah.
I'm with that.
So you're editing rather than, creating the whole thing.
Well, I'm barely doing that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So do you think that's the attraction of when you're a new broker, like joining a big sort of branded group like that, is having the kind of the templates already in place?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But also you can talk to anyone to go, how do you do this? There's one thing, a few brokers have told me, you'll hate working from home because it's so lonely. You're by yourself, one-man show. I mean, I liked it because I come from 2 branches. It was hassle and bustle. I'm like, I just don't want anyone to interrupt me and talk to me for a change.
Yeah.
But you can always call someone and find that help if you need it.
Yeah.
I think that's important.
Yeah. And so talking about that, working from home rather than setting up a kind of walk-up office, having a sort of office franchise. Was that something that you think will be your plan now here on in, or do you think you'll ever go to actually opening an office where you'll have
bricks and mortar?
Yeah.
Hell no.
No.
Why would you want to?
Why wouldn't you?
All the banks are shutting down. They've seen the reality. Everyone's online. Everyone's virtual. Everyone's used to doing that Zoom meetings. You can do meetings in a cafe and have that social. You can go to their house. You don't need bricks and mortar necessarily. I mean, it's great for probably branding and awareness in a small local community. I'm in Brisbane, so it's probably not less critical for me personally. But I think people are used to it being virtual these days.
Do many of your clients ask you to go to their house or to meet you face to face?
No.
Really? I'm surprised by that. I would have thought, when it comes to actually the signing of the forms, they'd want to see you.
Everything's digital.
Yeah, well.
In saying that, there are some, what do I call it, old school bank mentality that they want that personal touch. And that's what I give.
Yeah.
I'd prefer to do that because the trust is so much more real. And like, if you can meet someone face to face in person, has a bit more of a lasting impact. Yeah.
And when it comes to actually getting the deals done and getting across what you need to as a new broker, again, like a lot of things to read, a lot of compliance, a lot of, systems that you have to learn. How did you kind of learn it all? Because it is an undertaking, and people in their first 12 months are often like, oh, will I ever get to grips with this? Is so much.
Yeah. I'm not allowed to say I can wing it, don't you? You have to kind of. I had one policy that I knew was 101 lending, so I knew what a deal was. I just had to figure out where it sat from a risk appetite, because I was very. We were taught to mitigate risk. Like, we only have one policy, and you have to go outside policy and mitigate the risk where possible. Whereas now, I just go to the bank where they'd accept that appetite.
Yep. I'm
like, well, that's easier. They don't have to mitigate much risk because they're happy to take that risk on. So, yeah, that was kind of the question?
So when it comes to things like learning credit policy, you mentioned quickly already. Are there any other tools and tech that you've used along the way to help you get up to speed?
Obviously, the BDMs were critical for my learning, because you have to. There's so much you can take on a read. You got to find it, and every portal has their policy in there, and you got to go and find where it is and what page it's on, and you're like, this is time consuming. If I can just call the BDM, go, is this a deal? Like, is there any other quirks that I need to understand? Which was quick and a lot easier. But at some point, you got to understand their policy, because there are quirks, and once you do a deal, then you go, yeah, I get this, and the reasons why this looks like a such and such bank deal.
Yeah.
So it's, once you get a few under your belt, then you can realize what their appetite is.
Is there anything that you use from a sort of workflow perspective that helps you do your job? Like, are you using any particular CRM platforms, obviously provided by MoneyQuest or Low Market, but do you have any kind of things that you use in addition to that?
I use the My CRM platform and the deal board. I think that works great. I mean, I was a little bit old school. I used to write on a whiteboard, which is like so old school, but it worked. Whereas now, it's all there in the deal flow. So that worked for me and my offshore. We were on the same page there. Quickly was great because I could crunch some numbers quickly over the phone to go, there's a deal here. And I can almost pre-select some potential banks that potentially would work from their lending serviceability, their situation. I could fine-tune it then later in my CRM. So those were the two biggest ones. And then obviously the BDM's helping support. But other software, look, there's probably more coming on board now that I'm utilising. But they were the main ones initially getting going.
And when it comes to generating leads, you mentioned that, MoneyQuest will help you with things like meta ads or paid ads. Do you do anything else to try and generate new business and awareness?
I suck at content and socials. I'd love to be better at that and just do it really. But meta and paid ads was a quick and easy solution for me. And then referral partners was a big one. And obviously your existing network, because you just need a referral from each one and you've doubled your business. So you just got a old school way of delivering great service, and they'll talk and tell their family and friends. So it's not rocket science. You just got to, and also ask for it. Like, that was an easy one to say, I'm just getting my business going. Can you share it with your friends and family? Yeah. Here's my card. Here's my email, my number. Share it with whoever you know who's buying a property. I'd love to help them. And people want to support you because you're just getting going. Yeah.
And I guess as well, if you're doing something like, specialising in self-employed with ATO debt, that's quite a niche, and lots of people will probably know other people who have got a similar circumstance. Yeah. They can kind of be like, this guy actually helped me, so
exactly,
you should go and chat to him.
Exactly.
When it comes to things like, actually running a business, the other thing that a lot of brokers ask us frequently is saying, well, how am I meant to know how to be a manager and how to be a marketing manager and how to do payroll and how to do all these things? Obviously, with your banking experience, having run some franchises, you already know some of that. Yep. But what is your advice for someone who's never been their own boss before, who's never run a business before?
Yeah, it can be daunting. I think the biggest thing is you want to get some either a mentor or support coach, which is critical, not only for maybe your broker coach specific lending, but also maybe a financial business coach on the side of running a business, because it does take a lot of time and effort to be working on your business rather than in your business. It's easy to get caught up being a broker and doing lending and the process, and then, forget about the other aspects of working on your business. Yep. The marketing, the HR. If you've got a team, you need support to do that. So it's kind of, I think having support is critical, whether it's in your aggregation, your franchise, or seeking out a support of a specific coach for yourself.
Yep, awesome. And have you done that for yourself yet, or are you going to do that in the future?
Oh, I have, yeah. I'll shout out to Sam Panetta, broker coach. He's a big support for me personally. So I've just joined that this year, and it's been phenomenal. The brokers in that group are just, mind-blowing.
Yep.
Just unbelievable. And they're willing to share the knowledge. So if you don't, you're prepared to ask and put yourself out there, you'll get the answers.
We're going to take a quick break here. When we come back, I'd like to talk to you about your future plans for your business, the sort of things that you think are the challenges and opportunities in broking at the moment, and your top advice for new brokers. So Matt, now you've got your 18 months under your belt, and this is something that I think is really a milestone for a lot of new brokers, because we know about 50% of new brokers don't make it past the first 18 months. And that's anecdotally we hear because of things like they're surprised at how long it takes to make an income. It's a lot more hard work than they think it's going to be. And sometimes people are just like, you know what? I thought I could do this part-time and I can't. So I think like it's kind of make or break in this first 18 months, but you're spearheading through that. You've kind of smashed your first year. What are your plans for growth? Where do you want to get to next?
Yeah, I'll take over the world
okay. Yeah.
I'd love to just run a tight-knit operation, a couple more staff, one onshore, maybe another broker to really help support. But then it's about building team efficiencies on doing more with less, and tools and AI are going to help do that. But you still need a team to support you and drive that, and keep the connections with clients, building relationships still, because that's critical. I think the AI and the tech is just going to allow us to do more of generating leads and having those discussions with clients. So, which is great. But for next step is obviously grow the business, no doubt, but tight-knit team that we can really operate really efficiently.
Yeah. And do you have like a kind of vision for what your, let's say, next 10 years look like? Because I think a lot of brokers when they first start, they might plan really well the first year, and then they kind of go, well, that's it, I'm done.
Yeah.
And then they kind of go, next year I'm just going to grow from there, but they don't necessarily have a longer term vision. Have you made a formal plan, or do you think you will, or are you going to grow organically?
I sort of have. I'm 45, well, 46 actually, dare I say it. So another 10 years, I'd like to be have the choice to whether I work or not, realistically. And I think that's really achievable. Whether I want to pull up stumps then or not is probably will be made closer to the time where I want to pull back, have a junior broker, see them take over the business or build it out for them. I could still bring business in the door, but step back and let them drive it, be the face. That's probably some kind of vision I see. Or I could obviously sell up and let them take over completely and step back completely. So I don't know exactly what that looks like, but the 10-year plan is around that point to go, do I want to just be involved and maintain and coach and get someone else, the next generation up, and teach them the ways? And they'll have new ways. Like they'll be totally bringing business in the door that I thought, wow, how do they do that?
Yeah.
But, at the end of the day, lending's still lending. And I think that'll still be, I think there'll be more specialised lending. Obviously, the vanilla stuff can be maybe taken, automated, AI generated. It'll be the specialised lending, the self-employed, ATO tax debt that's quirky and outside the box to go, how are we going to do this? And you need to look for ways of solving problems and adding massive value. That's what I'd love to train and coach someone to do that and take over there. The business further than me.
It kind of feels cruel to ask you what your longer term goals are when you've only just started. But I think it's always interesting for me to kind of see well, how do you envisage your career? Because some brokers kind of start and they go, I want to have, I want to grow a franchise in every state and have, 50 people. And some are like, I'm happy just doing what I'm doing. So I think it's interesting to hear what different plans are.
Well, I take my kids to school every morning, and that's important to me because I know I've got a 17-year-old, 13-year-old and a 9-year-old, and those days are limited. They're going to be gone. They won't care about dad anymore. And I figured if I don't make the time now, it's I can't get it back.
Yeah.
So, working hard is important, but having the flexibility is critical for me as well. So, yeah.
And just going back to the broking industry, obviously moving from banking to broking is not a massive step, but it's still quite a different sort of industry. Is there anything that you found surprising or challenging in broking that maybe you weren't expecting?
Challenging. Look, it was obviously the amount of different banks and quirks, it was like a headache to get around. But there was nothing that I thought, oh, this is going to stump me for certain, because I think I knew I could talk to someone and find an answer. Like, that's something I've learned to be good at, is like, I don't know all the answers, and I never will. There's always so many changes going on. But if I know someone who does, I'm sweet. You know, I'll be fine. So I think that's the confidence. That's the reassurance, I should say, that you'll be okay. I think the key is you just got to give it a go, but you got to go all in. You got to commit. You can't do it part-time. It's too hard to do part-time. That's actually harder. Yeah. It's slower. Yeah. The process.
Yeah. And the amount of people I talk to who kind of always say to me, like, oh, I wish I'd done it earlier full-time, because it actually was a bit more painful doing it part-time. You can't, as you say, jump hours in the day, and you're kind of split between two different things, and then it takes you longer to get them running.
You're on a fast track, you got to throw yourself in.
Yeah. So we talked about some of the challenges there. What about the best bits of broking? What are you most enjoying? What's been the highlight of your broking career?
I love working from home and like just walking downstairs and
being able to be with your kids.
Yeah, and the tracky ducks and going, oh, I'm just clocking on. And then, or I'll clock off, take them to school, I'm clocking back on there. But you're on the phone, you're doing emails. You can do that at any time of the day. But yeah, it's just the flexibility. But the challenge is still there of working out a tight deadline and a solution quickly. Like, you got to think on your feet. You got to go, how am I going to analyze this? Obviously, there's still sleepless nights going, how are we going to overcome this?
Yeah.
But I love it when you can find a way. It's like a massive win, and then you're on the phone to the client celebrating.
Yeah.
Like,
have you got any examples of that where maybe like the client thought they weren't going to be able to get a loan, and then you've managed to find them a solution?
Yeah, I was literally, I'm going through one now, which is a single mum going through a divorce. And it's you're going through the challenges with them. Like you almost, Nick was just saying, oh, you almost sound like a counsellor on that phone call. I'm like, well, it sort of feels like you are at some points. And you're going through that journey, and you're trying to help them get to this point that they can own that home in their own right. It's just a big deal, and it's going to be life-changing for them. And we're not far off doing that, but that's just one example off the top of my head.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, you are absorbing a lot of the time the stress and the emotion of your clients, whether that's joy or anxiety. Shaking off some of that emotion that you kind of, and the energy that you absorb, can be quite tough. Like if you've had, everything go wrong one day, it can feel like quite hard to close the door and be like, no, I'm here for my family, and I'm not going to be carrying this with me. How do you unwind and de-stress?
That's a challenge, because you need to debrief and get it off your chest. And that I love getting out cycling. So I go, there's one thing, I didn't have any other exercise regime. Like the gym was occasional, but when the kids were younger, I was like, I don't have time to do any exercise for me. But now they're getting a bit older, I go crack a dawn and cycle. So
mountain biking or road biking?
Both, mainly road biking in Brisbane, but I go off track occasionally just to have an adventure. But yeah.
Do you kind of time block that time then, like for like a certain time of day, or do you kind of go only do it when you're really stressed?
No, it's Tuesdays and Fridays at 4:30.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you put in the diary. Yeah. If you're in Clayfield and you want to go for a cycle, then that's available. Yeah. The other thing I want to ask you about is kind of looking at, well, if you're going to be in this industry for a long time, like what do you think the keys to success are? Like what have you found really worked for you that maybe some other new brokers can learn from and adopt?
Surround yourself with others that are been there, done that, because you can soak up that information super quick and learn from them rather than your own mistakes, because learning from your mistakes is going to take a lot longer, especially if you're doing it part-time. So get into a group, an aggregation, a broker coach, whatever it is for you that you can learn off people or other brokers that have been there, done that, because they're going to share that knowledge with you. They should. There's nothing to really hide, and there's no real super secrets. But I think people are willing to share the heartaches that I've gone through to help your life easier, because, why wouldn't they? Yeah. And I think that's a key for fast-tracking his success.
Yeah. Well, if you are thinking, I don't know any brokers, then do take a listen back to previous episodes on the Advisor Podcast Network. We've got 10 years worth of podcasts with Australia's leading brokers, new brokers, women in finance, and of course, partners in finance as well, from lenders, aggregations, and fintech groups. There's so much content there for you to absorb, and maybe reach out to a couple of people that you really like the sound of for help. Matt, would you be willing to help some new brokers if they reached out?
Yeah, happy to.
So you under the bus there. For anyone else, then, if you've got any questions for me, do feel free to reach out. You can reach me at editor@theadvisor.com.au. And as I said, hopefully you've found some value in this podcast and all of the Advisor podcasts. You can find them all on the Advisor Podcast Network and now on YouTube as well if you're interested in watching the content rather than listening to it audio. Otherwise, we'll catch you next time for another episode on the Advisor Podcast Network.